Yes, bewitched me body and soul. Oh my gosh. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Secretly Wild. My name is Taylor for those of you who are new here, and before I start this video, I just want to kind of do some admin stuff, meaning I want to apologize for not being active for the past few weeks. I started so strong in terms of I was like, okay, I need to do this, this, and this, and I was doing it all, and then December hit and it just kind of all fell apart. And having, like, in my personal life and then having holidays, it was just like, no, you know, I need some time from YouTube and my Bookstagram, so I apologize for that, but also at the same time I needed it, so not sorry. But yeah, so I am getting back on to my schedule. I'm thinking about doing 2 videos a week for YouTube, and I feel like that's manageable. I am starting grad school this month, so that's why I think 2 videos is going to be manageable, because I'll be really busy because grad school is hard. So yeah. Also, I have some really cool things happening on my Bookstagram, so if you're not following me there, please check it out, because there's some cool things happening with me and my friend Mia. We're doing something that I can't talk about right now, but I will definitely be making a video about it, because it won't just be on Instagram, it'll also be on other platforms. So yeah, please follow me. I'll leave my Bookstagram in the place below. So yeah. Okay, let's get into the video for today. I am filming my 2020 favorites video. And there's quite a few books, and also I didn't organize it. I was just kind of like, oh, books are on the floor and camera go. So bear with me. Yeah, so we're just gonna go with the first book that I pick, and that is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Oh my gosh, this book was so good. I read it at the beginning of 2020, and I think it really kind of kicked off my reading rush, or I don't know, it really kicked off me reading a lot again. Also because I finished this like right before we went into lockdown, so I was already in that reading mood. And yeah, so this book was really good. I would say, I mean, I didn't rate it because I just didn't read it when I first read it, so I'm guessing I would give this a 4 out of 5. But also the sequel is coming out this year, and you know, I'm gonna pick that up. Yeah. And also I follow the girl who designed the cover for this book on Instagram, so I will leave her Instagram below, because she is super creative, super fun, and just super positive, and you know, really need that in my life. So yeah, Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Highly recommend. Alright, next one is Killers of the Flower Moon by David Grann. This book was so interesting. So if you are living in America, as I am, and you went to the American public schools, you were part of that system, you don't really learn a lot about Native American culture, or kind of history behind Native Americans and how colonists really came in here and destroyed their lives. So this book is something I definitely recommend everyone picking up and reading, because it talks about the Osage Indians and how there was a lot of people from their community they were being murdered for their head rights. And the book explains what head rights are, if you don't know, but it's a truly interesting story, and it's a story that everyone should know about, because we really need to, as society, as people living in America, who were all technically transplants, we didn't all come from America, we need to know about the people who originally were here and how we affected them, because it's just not right what happened. So it's really important. I definitely recommend this book. I think they're making this into a movie, and I'm really nervous because Native Americans aren't always represented in the most positive light in films. So I definitely, if you're gonna read or watch the movie, read the book, because it's really good. It's really good, and it gets like first, it talks to people who are related to these families in present time. It's really interesting. I highly recommend it. I read it for a book club that my family and I do because of coronavirus. We were all like, we're inside, can't see each other, let's do an online book club. So we read this. It was really good. I honestly, 4.5 out of 5, just because of all the information I didn't know and needed to know, and I'm glad I know, and now I can be a better person in terms of recognizing people's history and just not making the same mistakes as people in the past have made. Yeah, sorry, babbling on, but this was a really, really good book. Okay, next one is None Shall Sleep by Ellie Marney, and this book was so good. It gives you like all those Silence of the Lamb vibes that I just love. Silence of the Lambs was one of my favorite movies. Yeah, and I watched Hannibal. Hannibal's a really good show. But yeah, it has those vibes in here. So basically, 2 teenagers are recruited by the FBI to talk to juvenile serial killers, and then it kind of leads to like this whole other case that they're involved in. It was really good. I would give this, I want to say, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm just being generous now, but I'm not being generous with this book because this book was really good. Okay, let's give it 4.3 to be different, but it was along that lines of the like 4.5, you know? Oh my god. Okay, yeah, it was really good. I also made my family read this book, and they were like, whoa, and I was like, yeah, right? Yeah, it was really good. Okay, next book I read was Pride and Prejudice. Really good. Have never read this book before, read it, and was like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. This is a really good book. And immediately watched the Keira Knightley movie afterwards and was like, yes, bewitched me body and soul. Oh my gosh, it was so good. So this was definitely a 5 out of 5. Also, I feel like I forgot to mention that these are my favorites. I read a total of 46 books this year, which is a lot more than I've read in the past decade, to be honest. Like, I used to read a lot in middle school, and then, you know, high school kills you, and then college you're like, oh yeah, you're a literature major, so you're reading all the time, but it's not recreationally. Like, sometimes the books aren't fun. So this year I really was like, everything is for fun, and I've enjoyed it. But the ones I'm showing you are my favorites, so you're not gonna see 46 books in this video. Because I could do that, but I just don't really want to. Because there's some books that I just like, they were my favorites, so I don't want to talk about them. So yeah, Pride and Prejudice, amazing. Ooh, okay. I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara. So good. Talks about the Golden State Killer and kind of McNamara's obsession and kind of how it kind of caused like her downfall and her family. Like, that's not a main part, but her obsession was so great that it really affected her personal relationships. And the book does not tell you who the person is. Obviously, if you are familiar with the Golden State Killer, like the news, up to date with all that stuff, in 2020 they did capture the Golden State Killer. But the book in no way kind of helps the investigation. It mostly just highlights and popularizes it because no one really connected those cases together. I mean, I really enjoy the book and I feel like it does a lot, but investigators will tell you that it didn't solve the case. And so I'm just gonna go along with what the investigators say because, you know, they know it better than I do, a person who only read one book about it. But yeah, it's really good. I really like the story in terms, like her personal story going along with her figuring out what happened. It is graphic, so if you don't want anything graphic, don't read it. But they also did come out with a TV show, HBO came out with a TV show about the book, so not necessarily about I mean, it's about the Golden State Killer, but it's mostly about the book, so it talks a lot about Michelle McNamara, and her personal life as well. It was a really good show, and super informational in terms of genetics, like DNA, swabbing DNA and stuff. Yeah, it was really good. Next one, I read Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, and this was amazing. I've always wanted to read this book, and I thought, what like better time to read it than this year, and it just made me, I love books, but it just made me appreciate books way more. So if you don't know the concept, it's basically like literature isn't allowed unless it is, you know, it's basically, I'm forgetting the word, there's censoring, basically entertainment, books, everything, and so a lot of books are burned, and kind of like talks about this one main character. He's a firefighter, so he burns books, but it's about his life, and he is, well, a portion of his life and his relationship with books and his job and his personal life. Like, it's really interesting. There's also a movie to this, and that was really good. It was different in certain ways, but it was still really, really good, and it makes me want to memorize a whole entire book. That way, if books are ever destroyed, I have a whole book just like logged in here, but also my memory is really bad, so probably won't ever happen. Yeah. Oh, I never gave this one a rating, and I didn't give this one a rating either. To be honest, I think I'm just gonna stop giving ratings because I'm just not feeling the rating part of this video, so I'm really sorry this is inconsistent, but I told you I did not plan any of this. Yeah. Okay, next book I read, which I do have a rating for, but it's in another video, so you can go back and look at that. It's The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Oh my gosh, this was so good. It was so good. It was so freaking amazing. If you have not read it, please read it. It will make you cry. It'll make you love. It'll make you want to research all of mythology, which is, I highly recommend doing that because that is freaking cool. So amazing. I'm pretty sure I gave this a 5 out of 5, to be honest. You don't have to look back at the video, but please look back at the video because there's other books in there that I really liked as well. Yeah, I read this one. It's really good. It's about Achilles and his lover Patroclus, and yeah. Okay, I read The Alchemist also by Paulo Coelho? I really hope I'm pronouncing the last name right. I hate when I pronounce people's names wrong because it feels so disrespectful. But yeah, I read The Alchemist. I read this over the summer, and it was like I was fresh out of my undergrad, really, really stressing out about what I was gonna do with life in general, and I don't know, it just felt like a really comforting read, and really it brought in my perspective about life. I know a lot of people don't like this book, but I did. I don't know, I found it really comforting, and I definitely want to give it a reread. It's a very short book, so I remember I read it really fast. But yeah, I don't know, I definitely recommend it. It's a classic, in my opinion. Yeah, so I'll probably be rereading this one this year as well because, I don't know, I really enjoyed it the first time, so let's see if I enjoy it even more the second time. Okay. Oh. Okay. My next favorites is the 100 series. I am still missing the first book because it's still on loan. No shade to anyone who I'm loaning it to. But yeah, I read this series, so freaking good. If you have seen the TV show, it's different than the TV show, but it's still good, and you know, things happen with the characters that you really want to happen in the show, but it doesn't happen in the show, and you're just like, it's in the book, so it's awesome. And I feel like I need to shut up about this series, but I'm not going to because, let's be honest, I'm in love with it. Thank you, Cass Morgan, for giving this to me, and in terms of writing this so I could have a life. I think if that makes sense, you know, loved it. Oh, Okay, next book I read is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I really like this book. A lot of people don't like this book, and then a lot of people love this book. I liked it just because I was reading it near the end of my college experience, so I related to it a lot more, not in terms of the murder, just in terms of like people being in college and having those academic conversations and just having that imposter syndrome. I definitely related to it, and then, you know, murder is my favorite. So that was really interesting, and I don't know, I felt like this book just needed to be on this list because it was really good. Looking back at it now that I've read The Goldfinch, which is also on this list that I really like, I do like The Goldfinch better than The Secret History, but it's still a favorite just because it was such a moment in my year where I was just like, this is it. Like, I really am enjoying reading this, even though first half is taking forever. It's just, I don't know, it was important to me this year. So that's why it's on this list. But The Goldfinch was also on this list because it is also amazing. I did a read along with my friend Mia. We did that for November. Yeah. And it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Character development, the writing, everything was amazing. So yeah, I definitely like recommend reading anything by Donna Tartt. I am hoping to read her other book, The Little Friends, this year, and I think that's her last book that she has published. Please tell me if I'm wrong, but then I will have read all of Donna Tartt in terms of published books, and that'll be awesome. Yeah. Okay, next book I read was, well, another favorite, The Ravens by Cass Morgan and Danielle Page. Oh my god, this book was so freaking good. It was so good. It's witches, it's a sorority, it's, amazing. It follows the lives of two characters who are both, you know, witches in a sorority. Oh, it was so good. Yeah, I waited like all of 2020 to read this book, and so I'm really happy I got to read it in 2020, and it did not disappoint. It was just, I like devoured it. I think I read it within like a day or two just because I was so captivated. The authors just do an amazing job of building their characters and kind of making their writing flow together. Like, you can't really tell who wrote what, which I always think is really important because then it just feels kind of choppy if you can tell which writer wrote what. I don't know. I really enjoyed it, so please pick this up. It was one of my favorites. Okay, next book is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delilah Owens. Such an amazing book, so impactful. I felt like I aged like 30 years while reading this book, like internally, because it just starts off with the girl being so young and then ending like older in her life. But you just like, you go through so much with this character. You really, really do. And it's a good representation of like a strong leading female character, someone who can take care of themselves and is basically like built from nothing, but ends up forming this life that is just everything they've ever wanted. It's so good. It is a Reese Witherspoon's book club book. Really good. Yeah. Read it for my family's book club, and oof, yeah, it was really good. They are also making a movie, and I think I saw who's playing Kaya, who's the main character, but I'm blanking on her face and her name. But oh no, that's a different book. Yeah, that's a different book. I don't know, they're making a movie and I hope it's really good. Yeah. Okay, so the movie that I was thinking about is the movie that they're making for The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. Oh my gosh, it has Elle and Dakota Fanning. They're gonna play the two sisters in this book, and I can't wait. It's gonna be amazing because I love their acting, but also I love this freaking book. It was so good. It's a historical fiction, and it was so good. I got really into nonfiction and historical fiction and adult fiction. this year. And one of my goals for 2021 is to diversify my reading in terms of genre, authors, sexuality, identity, race, anything. I just want to broaden my reading, because also as someone who's an aspiring author, like that's only how you get better in terms of writing, is when you diversify your reading and, you know, your writing as well. But yeah, this book was so good and I can't wait for the movie. Oh, okay, next one is Call Me By Your Name by Andre Aciman. Oh my gosh, this book was so good. It was so steamy. It made me cry. Oof, I read it in a day because I was just captured, and I haven't seen the movie, and that's okay, even though I love Timothée Chalamet, because I really just don't want the movie to ruin this book. This book is just so good. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's very, like, you know, on TikTok, the girl who's like, oh, here, like, it's something about book recommendations, like, it slaps and it's gay, like, yes, and it's amazing. Oh, so good. Okay, next book is, Daughters of Miri. This was a really good book. To be honest, I feel like this is the first book I've ever read by a Nigerian author, and it was amazing. It is basically about these two twin sisters. They are like split up at birth, but they are part of like this whole goddess, like they're children of a goddess, and it's just kind of like they have to like set order back on Earth. So there's a whole like lore or there's history to this book, and it's just really interesting because it talks about different type of communities within this area, and it was just really good. And I think there's going to be a second book, and I really need it to come out because the cliffhanger for this book was insane. And you can't leave it like that. Like, you can't do that to me. I really need to know what happens. Yeah, I don't know. It was really good. I definitely recommend this book. And like I said, the author is Nigerian, and so the book takes place in Nigeria. And I don't know, it was just really interesting. Again, I want to diversify my reading, and this book was a really good one. Also, I think this is her first novel ever. Yeah. It's by Renee K. Amayo. Really good. I really liked it. Okay, next book I read was the reason why this channel is named Secretly Wild. I read The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. I read this at the beginning of 2020, and it just changed everything. I loved it. This is the first book I've ever read by Oscar Wilde, and his writing is just insane and complex, and I just need to absorb all of it that I can. So I am definitely going to be rereading this one this year because I just feel like on first read I didn't get all that I could have gotten from it, and that's fine. So I'm gonna reread it. But yeah, I love Oscar Wilde. Definitely need, I don't know what I need, but I need this. It was really good. Recommend. Okay, next, so my next favorites are Parable of the Sower and Parable of the Talents by Octavia E. Butler. I first read this one my freshman year of college, and then I loved it so much then, and I reread it this last quarter for my futures class, which is about utopian societies, and I reread it, and then I was like, I've never read the second book to it, so I picked it up, and my friend Emily and I reread it together, and it was so good. They have, obviously it's similar storylines. This one's continues the story on, but it's set up a lot different than this one is, in terms of who is narrating. So in this one, it kind of hops through different narrators, but still in letter form. It's just really interesting because you just see the growth from this book to this book of the characters, and yeah, I highly recommend reading this series, but also it does have a lot of similarities to everything that is going on in life in America, in the world right now. Like, there's a certain group of people who are represented in this book, and these books came out in the 90s, and I don't know if the person who kind of made this slogan really popular, giving you a hint that it has a red hat on it. I don't know if that person actually read this book, but literally that phrase is in here, and it's said from a character who is literally the same person who popularized the phrase currently. If you are getting my drift, sorry, I'm just trying not to like give any spoilers, and I don't really know how to how to do that yet, so I'm trying really hard. But feels like they might have read the book and just didn't take it the way that it was supposed to be taken. Just kind of was like, ah, yes, this person's evil, I must replicate that. So yeah, it's a good series though, or duology. That's the word. Okay, I'm on to my last two books. So the second to last book that's my favorite is Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. Oh my gosh, this book was so good. It was the first book that I've ever read that has a transgender character as the main character, and like coming out wasn't the plot. Like, obviously this person's identity is a huge aspect of the book in terms of family acceptance, but it wasn't everything. It's actually about ghosts and witchcraft, and it was amazing. So good. Aiden Thomas is actually coming out with another book in 2021, and I need it. It's like a Peter Pan-esque novel, so I'm really interested in that. Also, if you follow them on Twitter, they're just hilarious. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book. It got me in my feelings. Like, it truly hit hard. I think I read it really fast because I was like, oh my god, what is happening? What is happening? And yeah, it was really good. Also, you just learn about a different culture, and that's always interesting and important to learn. So it was really nice. Okay, last book that I read is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. And I mean that this is my last favorite on this video. I read other books, but oh my gosh, this book was so good. I'm definitely rereading it. Sorry for the sticker. I've tried to get this off, and you know, it's just like wasn't happening. I need to get it off because I've made it so bad that now it's just like, yeah, it needs to come off, but it's not gonna be pretty. But I'm also just really lazy. So, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna reread this book. This book is the first book I ever read by Leigh Bardugo, and it opened up my mind more to dark academia and or that like type of genre. And I had read The Secret History before this, and so I felt like reading this after was perfect. Because it just kind of hit more of what I wanted from The Secret History, and I love that, because then if I had read this first and then read The Secret History, I would have been really disappointed. But reading in that order, I was like, heck yeah, this is amazing, like I really like this genre. But yeah, oh my gosh, it was so good. I need the other book to come out, because honestly, what am I supposed to do with the ending of this? Like, it was so like, and now I'm like, what, can I keep reading? Can I keep reading? Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is a book that I'm definitely rereading. Because, you know, just needs to happen. Oh, I thought that was gonna fall. Okay, is that it? Or do I have honorable mentions? Let me check my notes. Oh, I do have an honorable mention. Another favorite, I don't have the physical copy, is Super Sad True Love Story, and I'm blanking on the author's name. That one was really good. I also read that for my futures class, and it has to do with like utopian society and all that stuff. It was really interesting. I like that one. Radium Girls, I read that one. That is also a historical fiction, and it was kind of wild. It was really wild. Like, I didn't think that that actually happened in real life, but there was facts and photos. It's about when girls would, like, back when there was war and the girls had to go to work, they were making these watches with glow-in-the-dark paint, but they were making it with radium, and basically they were, like, around it so often, and they were basically ingesting it, that it was substituting the calcium in their bones and just destroying them. Highly recommend it. It was an amazing yet so sad book, like such a sad book. Let's see. Oh, I read The Illustrated Man by Ray Bradbury too, and that one was really good. It's a collection of short stories. I don't know. It was really good. It was interesting. If you've seen Criminal Minds, they like allude to this book in an episode. And of course, Spencer Reed is the one who brings it up, and you know, future husband and all. And it was really good. I liked it. Let's see. I don't know. I read a lot of other books that I really like, but I think, okay, yeah. Last book that I don't have physically with me is The Outsider by Stephen King. Oh my gosh, that thing was so fucking scary. I had nightmares. I don't know why I would read this book at night, but I would, and I would just not be able to sleep. HBO also came out with a TV show that is a perfect representation of the book. I mean, obviously there are some differences, but I really like what they did with it, and I don't know, I hope Stephen King is like proud of it. But yeah, that book was really scary, and I really liked it. It's also a thick book, but I don't know. I really want to, like, I had borrowed the copy that I read, and I really just want to, like, get my own copy because it was just so good that I really just need to own it. But, you know, there are also other books that I need to own, so we'll see. Yeah, so that is it for this video. Please let me know in the comments if you also have a favorite that was on this list, or if you have a different opinion. Would love to know. Yeah, also please let me know what other videos that you would like to see, because to be honest, my little hiatus was more just so I could get mentally back on track with life, and now I'm like, oh shit, now I have to do a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, please like, subscribe, follow me on Bookstagram. I don't know what else to say. So yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!